Welcome to my madness once again, ladies and gentlemen. And today we're going to talk about this Marvel Legends Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Spider-Man 2099. This is the only other figure that I picked up in the wave other than the Miles Morales, which I already did the video on that one. You know, I thought about getting the Spider-Punk and the Gwen because they looked kind of cool. But in the end, I just decided to pick these two up. I didn't care about the Spot, Jessica Drew, or Peter B. Parker. Just those figures didn't really do anything for me. So, you know, maybe I'll get the Spider-Punk and the Spider-Gwen at some point. But for now, it's just Miles and this one. And I really do like the pseudo-retro packaging. It is cool. I mean, I don't keep my figures in package, so doesn't really do anything for me in that sense. And once again, just like with the Miles, lack of accessories. Although at least with this figure, there's a decent amount of plastic here. The Miles figure was a very small figure, so you really didn't get much other than a couple hands and an extra head. Here we don't even get an extra head, but he is a much beefier figure, which when we do some comparisons, I'll show you the two next to each other. But, you know, here we go. We got Spider-Man 2099, which I'm actually a huge fan of Spider-Man 2099. It was one of my favorite comics back when it first premiered back in, what, 92 or something? I don't even remember anymore at this point. But I loved the whole 2099 you know, run that Marvel did actually, but obviously Spider-Man was my favorite. So I really wanted to get this figure. So let's just go ahead, cut all the BS. Let's go ahead, crack this guy open and see what we got inside. All right, so we got him out of the package. We'll take a look at the accessories, which is just hands. He's got some extra hands there, and that's all he has. So not much to talk about there, but there it is either way. So let's look at the figure itself, and I think he looks pretty good. Obviously very animated, so if you do not like the animated style, this is not going to be for you, but it looks pretty good. I like the back piece we've got here, a nice bendable kind of plastic, kind of a soft plastic there that moves with him. I think they did a great job there on the logo on the front. Obviously that big V-shape animated look. The paint and everything is pretty basic on this guy, and he's got no texturing on his suit except for a little bit there on the shoulders, which don't really stand out because of, you know, the lack of a wash or anything. But from what I've seen from the trailers, you know, looks pretty accurate to what we see in the movie. We've got the big fins coming off there, which look really cool. We got nice detailing there on the gloves. You know, we've got the feet. It's pretty standard Marvel Legends articulation as well. So all the basic stuff with the ankles and the knees and the thigh swivels, hips, you know, all that stuff. We've got pinless joints on this guy, double jointed everywhere, ball hinge for the neck, all that kind of stuff. So not really anything special or that stands out. But because of the way the ab crunch was on the Miles figure, I wanted to see what the ab crunch was like on this one, if it was as crazy as the Miles figure. And it's pretty good. Not as crazy as the Miles figure, but it's pretty far. I mean, he gets over there pretty far. As far as bending back, you can see he bends back pretty far. And then unlike on the Miles figure, the paint job on the logo kind of cuts off there, which is something I really liked about the Miles figure, because when you bent it back, the paint job was still there. They didn't do that with this one, which is a shame. So, you know, it doesn't have the texture on the suit the way the Miles figure does. Much more basic paint job than that figure as well. But again, kind of fits in with the look of, you know, what they were going for the movie. So very, very basic sculpt here. Not a lot going on there. Not a lot going on with paint, but I think it's accurate to the character. It's well done, and it's got good articulation. So I think they did a good job. And again, I do like the cape. It looks cool. Although you can kind of see through the cape right there at the top, where you can see where the hole is, where the cape kind of presses into the torso there. So, you know, because you can kind of see through. It does have kind of a red tint here at the top and then comes down into a clear. You know, all in all, it looks really cool, but it is a fairly basic figure. But again, I love me some Miguel O'Hara. Okay, I love Spider-Man 2099. So, I was definitely going to pick this one up, and I like it. I think they did a good, solid job, even if there's not a lot going on here with paint and sculpt. I think it's still very accurate to the character. So, so far, I like it. Let's go ahead, do some comparisons here, see how this guy stacks up with some other figures. All right, so obviously we got to compare him to the last version of Spider-Man 2099 we got, which is this retro carded version, which is a great figure. I love this figure. It's an older sculpt, but I think it's a really good figure. I like it quite a bit. It's the only other Spider-Man 2099 figure that I have, and you can just see how huge this new figure is. I mean, he's massive. I mean, he's like Captain America, Thor-sized Marvel legend. He's a big boy. Because, this retro carded Spider-Man 2099 is a pretty standard size for a Spider-Man figure. But even if we take like the new Renew Your Vows Spider-Man and put him up there, and you can see how much bigger he is than even one of the newer, bigger versions of our Peter Parker Spider-Man. So he's a pretty big figure. So I dig it. I mean, I think, being a big, imposing figure like that works for the character, and I like it quite a bit. And then, of course, we got to compare him to the Miles we got in the same wave. And, putting aside the fact that both of these figures cost the same amount of money, and one is obviously twice the amount of plastic here, kind of trying to put that away for a minute, but just looking how much bigger this Spider-Man 2099 is than Miles, and knowing that at some point in the movie, we're going to have Spider-Man 2099 going after Miles. At least that's what was portrayed in the, in the trailers. This is a big, imposing character to kind of be trying to chase Miles down. So, I mean, I like it. I think these two look great together. I think they fit that animated style perfectly, and I'm really kind of digging this Spider-Man 2099. All right, so let's talk price here. And of course, this guy's going for $25, just like all the other figures in the wave. And is it worth it? Yep, I think it is. Quite simply, are you willing to pay the new entry-level Marvel Legends fee for a figure? $25. If you're not, cool. If you are, if you think this is a good, entry-level priced figure, which I do, I'm glad this one didn't get the Spider-Man tax. Yeah, I think it's worth it. It's a good big chunk of plastic, and while it does lack detail in paint and sculpt, it is accurate to what we have seen portrayed in the trailers for the movie, and I think it works well. I think it's a good representation of an animated version of Spider-Man 2099. I like it. I'm glad I picked it up. I think it's worth the $25. I'm happy with this purchase. As I always say, he's going to look great on my shelf, in my display, and that's really what it counts for when all is said and done. Is it going to look good in your display? For me, it's a yes. I think it's worth it. For you, you kind of have to make your own determination on that. But I'm very glad that I picked this guy up. I think they did a solid job on it. Look, it's not a top 10 figure or anything like that, but I think it's well done, and I think they did a good job. And really, in the end, maybe that's all we can ask for sometimes. It is great to get stellar figures, and this one isn't a stellar figure, but it's solid, guys. It really, really is. So that is pretty much it. Would love to see what you guys have to say about this down in the comment section down below. Is this one you're planning on picking up? If it is, why? Do you love Spider-Man 2099? If it's not, do you just hate the character, or you just don't like this aesthetic design, or you just don't think it's worth it? Would love to hear what you guys think down in the comment section. So that is it, guys. Thank you for watching as always, and always remember to enjoy your collection.